Good morning. Good morning. It is Sunday morning. It is April the 13th. Rise and shine, rise and shine. This is Coffee Talk. We get together 7 days a week, chat about what's going on in the world of weather. Hopefully, get your day started off on the right note. If not, I'm only one guy. I can only do so much. So before we dive into it, let's do this. My first sip of coffee. All right, ready? Join me. One more. Oh, that's good. Okay, now we can do the things. All right. Good morning. Let's take a live look outside, see what's doing. There's downtown Orlando. The skies are absolutely clear. My friends, it is an absolutely beautiful start to the day. Let's look at some of the other tower cams around here. Let's head over to the Orlando International Airport, see what's doing. Handshake, handshake. Oh, we've got it turned over to Williamsburg. A beautiful morning to head out to SeaWorld, isn't it? I like that. Disney Springs, check down in the other part of the tourist district, a couple of miles down the road. See what's doing. Yeah, it's a beautiful start. All right, let's head to another shot in downtown Orlando. Lake Eola Farmers Market rolling on a Sunday morning. Of course, we're looking over toward Executive. There's the Stanton Energy Plant there on the right. Ah, it's gorgeous. All right, to the beaches we go. New Smyrna Beach. Let's check in. No input signal. It's fine. I don't need you anymore. All right, New Smyrna. Why do you look like this is a camera from 1920? And in the 1920s, our tower cams were set up with such a focus. It's still pretty. All right, Port Canaveral. I skipped Daytona. I'll come back to you. Don't you worry. Oh, it's pretty. That's pretty. I want to go on a cruise like tomorrow, please. All right, Daytona Beach, last spot. And then we'll look at some temperatures. Just take a minute. Just take a minute of Zen. We deserve that, for goodness sake. All right, that looks good. All right, temperatures across Central Florida looking cool. Exactly as we had expected. Temperatures in some spots made it to the 40s. Ocala, you're at 48 degrees, 51 in the Villages. It's 57 degrees in Orlando and into the mid 50s as well into Brevard County. So all of us are enjoying this little taste of cool, right? First warning live Doppler radar. You don't need me to tell you. There's nothing there. Garbly gook. That's all we got. Forecast today. Look at that. 77 degrees by 1 o'clock. 80 degrees by 3 p.m. and a light breeze. Man, it's nice. Matt says such a difference from last week. I know. Last week was blasting hot. The dew point temperatures are super low. It feels great outside. Let's see. That's temperatures. Temperatures. Hold on. Let me pull up the dews. Stand by. Dew point temperature, by the way, is a direct measurement of moisture in the atmosphere. So we're in the 40s and 50s, which it makes sense. The atmosphere is basically saturated. It's pretty dry. Clearly, it's pretty dry. So let's talk about the day ahead, shall we? Temperatures today are going to rebound. And I think that that's what's just so unique about Florida, right? We turn things around so quickly. We're on our way to 80 degrees in Orlando. We're going to be at about 79 degrees today in DeLand, 73 this afternoon in Palm Coast, and 76 outside in New Smyrna Beach. That is a temperature diff, right? As the kids would say, it's a diff, right? So a pretty good turnaround here. You got to love that. It's something for everybody, right? Yeah. Now, if 80 today is looking good, watch where we're headed this week. It's all over the place, to be quite honest with you. 87, our high temperature tomorrow. 86, our high temperature Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, 82. Why? What's happening here? Seriously, I'm so confused with this. I'm not. I mean, we'll talk about it. All right. Hold on, if I could type the thing correctly. Must have more coffee. All right, so here's this kind of setup that we're in. All right, so for today, high pressure is building in clearly with a clear sky overhead. High pressure just continues to sit over us. So for Monday, heating up the temperatures with kind of a return east-southeasterly breeze. ignore that says cooler. Hold on. Delete. All right. So high pressure over us. Warming temperatures, high pressure. Tuesday, it's hot. But notice there's another cold front marching our direction. Now, don't get too excited here. Front's not going to like throw colder air at us. But that front is going to move through and at least help to turn the winds around just a little bit. So, to that point, let's look at the 7-day forecast here, okay? That's where we'll see the differing. 80 today, right? We're starting a warming trend. 87 tomorrow, 86 on Tuesday. Weak cold front, bringing those temperatures back down. Notice Wednesday's high 82. Thursday's low dips again, 56. And then we start to warm again on Friday, and then we start to warm again on Saturday, right? So you're starting to see that adjustment back on up. So cold fronts are no longer cold, they're cool, and eventually they're going to be, do they even get here fronts? Now, let's do this. Let's look at the raw GFS numbers. Of course, I get to log in because that's this Canadian. Don't look at that. All right. So here's the GFS raw output for temperatures. Okay. So let's just take a minute and study this. I'll bring it full screen so that it's just as big as it could possibly be. 90 on, you know what? If I do it this way, it actually, at least you can see the days of the week. All right, so Monday, hot, Tuesday, warm. You see that little bit of a dip there, Wednesday afternoon, Thursday morning, April 16th, April 17th. Then 18, 19, 20, those temperatures start to climb. 20, 21, it's hot. Maybe a little bit of a break around the 20th. So very normal this time of year. We start to see the models kicking outward any mentions of cold fronts. So that's no surprise. If you recall, a few weeks ago, the computer models were really saying it was going to get cool again around the 21st, 22nd. I mean, y'all see it? Because I don't. Now we know around Easter is the recycle of that Longwood Lake Mary tornado. So we do need to look and see how that part of the pattern will recycle back through, and we'll look at that model data, of course. But in terms of temperatures, and I think that if there was any like genuine thing I want you to know is that this morning feels great. Enjoy it because there's really not a ton of cool left. Like we're going to get another little taste. We're going to get another little taste of cool morning on Thursday. And then after that, it gets warmer and warmer and warmer. Which actually reminds me, I haven't even, I have no idea what the weather is like in New Orleans. Let's go to WDSU.com. That's strawberry, clearly. All right, let me make this smaller. Hold on. I just want to hear what the forecast is for New Orleans. All right, we'll do that. James. Got to do the advertisement, of course. That's fine. Are you going to play said advertisement? Or do I have to beg? Let's try this again. There we go. Okay. That's all I want. Play your silly advertisement so that I can skip it. And then we can listen to I just want to listen to the forecast. I have no idea what we're at here. Okay. Running through. Got to pay. Look, I get it. DSU's got to pay the bills. I get it. All right. I get it. All right. All right, hold on. We're going to make it full screen. All right, let's listen to this together, hear what's going on over there.
And that brings us to a check on our first warning weather. Thankfully, no rain in sight, at least not for today.
Well, I was looking at the long range forecast for folks up north, and it looks like there's going to be some pretty good rain Thursday and then again over the weekend. Some heavier rains over the weekend
For
right now.
them, not
For
for
them,
us.
not for us. No, no,
Okay,
no.
good.
We're looking very dry right now, very, very comfortable as our temperatures are probably a little bit on the chilly side in some locations, depending upon what your
Hey, that's
definition
pretty
of
looking.
chilly is. We're in the 40s on the North Shore, so yes, I think that's probably jacket weather. 46 Bogalusa, 48 in Hammond, 52 in Baton Rouge. I'll say this, when I left the house this morning just before 4 a.m., I didn't need a jacket. 56 degrees are...
Wait a minute, wait a minute. He left the house just before 4 a.m.? I feel like I get. Okay.
The current temperature there. Skies are clear right now at Louis Armstrong International Airport. Temperature and the dew point, hey, they're getting closer. So maybe it feels just a touch muggy out there. Winds from the south-southwest at about 3 miles per
Matt
hour.
says who made those
Morning
graphics.
fog is going to start to make a comeback for us later next week. Tuesday could be the foggy day as we look ahead toward the work week. I don't think the fog's going to be overly thick, but look what's happening right now on the current surface map.
Wait a minute, you said he's got to commute. A touch before 4. I feel like I'm at Wesh a touch before 4. He must not have much of a commute.
Going to get up close to 80 degrees for the afternoon high. Probably then in the low 80s tomorrow as that warming trend will.
All right, so just get to the forecast, sir, so that we can see where we're going this week. I have no idea what to pack. It's funny, it just occurred to me while we're sitting here talking. I'm like, I got to figure that out.
Your high temperature will be about 3, 4, 5 degrees above average. As we expect the computer models to show us that we're going to be clear pretty much all day today. 79 Hammond, 80 Bogalusa. There's that southerly.
All right, so at least so far, their forecast doesn't look very different than ours, which that works for me.
A little bit warmer. No 40 showing up on the map. Mid 50s, I think, in the North Shore. Upper 50s everywhere else, even close to 60 in a couple of spots. And the afternoon, we'll tack on a couple extra degrees. Still have that southerly wind, high temperature anywhere from about 81 to 83, 84 degrees in most spots. But then we'll be tracking a front, and I think Tuesday morning, according to this model, well, we could start a little bit foggy. I don't think it's going to be a huge deal, but there will probably be a couple of spots Tuesday morning where visibility is less than a mile. So we'll make Tuesday morning a weather impact day just because of that fog.
Does that sound like something you're familiar with?
First thing in the morning Tuesday, it should be on top of us. It'll probably bring us a little bit of cloud cover late morning, early afternoon, and then that front may actually become.
Isn't that funny? That's the same front that'll be moving through central Florida on Wednesday.
See a couple more clouds in the forecast starting on.
He uses the calmer backgrounds.
Yesterday, some of you may remember, I had a 20% chance for showers in the forecast on Tuesday. Don't think that's going to happen. We're taking that chance for rain out of the forecast now. Sunny, warmer, a little bit breezy today. Beautiful day to end the festivals. High temperature close to 80 degrees. Clear skies, not as cool tonight, 50s as opposed to 40s on the North Shore that we're seeing this morning. Then sunny, warm again, a little bit on the breezy side tomorrow with a high temperature in the low 80s. Morning fog Tuesday, that's why it's a weather impact day. And that cold front moves through and it bumps our temperatures down by about 3 degrees. That's it.
Okay.
We'll start cool on the North Shore Wednesday, but then back to the 80s. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. WDSU, first warning weather.
So that looks pretty much Florida. Looks pretty much Florida. I can handle that. Even with their little front. All right. Louisiana, Florida says, oh, yeah, exactly. Exactly right. So anyway, temperature's not really adjusting a ton here. Not really adjusting a ton there. Good times. It's looking like beautiful weather. Let's see. Tell me about him. From Louisiana, I moved to Florida. Katie says, yeah. So we've got a really nice stretch of weather. If you're heading out to the attractions, it's really beautiful weather. Today, next couple of days, we really have a great stretch. So we have to make sure to do the things, right? All right. So let's look at our 7-day forecast. Then we can chat, right? Let's just do the business end here. All right. 7-day forecast looking good. Warmer Monday, warmer Tuesday, a little bit of a break Wednesday. And then Friday, Saturday, those temperatures start to come back up. Coastal 7-day forecast, same idea, just not quite as warm, right? You can see the warmer temperatures Monday, Tuesday, and then coming back down Wednesday and Thursday. So that's kind of where we're at. All right. Good times. You should go gigging for fraud. Huh? Gigging? Is that a thing? Can I tell you guys what I am gonna do though? Can I share one little nerd thing? All right, hold on. YouTube. I'm going to go to YouTube. I'm going to look for this real fast. So while I'm out in New Orleans, I'm doing one thing in addition to um, the conference, and I'm going to share this all with you once I put it all together. Okay. So, um, this is this is a clip here that so while I'm out there, I'm going to be hooking up with WDSU's Chief Meteorologist Emeritus, Margaret Orr. And I am so excited to share that a part of doing that, I got to scroll through here. There's so much footage here. I don't know where she's going to be at. This is our sister station in New Orleans, Hurricane Katrina coverage. All right. It's the 20-year anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. Anzio. Oh my God. Oh, you're not seeing any of this, are you? Okay, hold on. Let me just find. Trying to find. There's a bunch of coverage that I was showing, but do that. Hold on, I'm putting this together. Okay, so scrape. I gotta put this here. Gotta put this here. This is what happens when you're like directing on the fly. And then we hit interact. We do that. We do that. Okay. All right. So, um, I'm going to
Number
be hooking
10
up
wasn't
with
much.
our
Strong upper level winds tore it apart just.
sister station WDSU's chief meteorologist emeritus, Margaret Orr. She has retired. Yes. Okay. So Matt's first thing is like, hold on, 20 years. Yes. So it's been 20 years since Katrina. So one of the things that I plan on doing while I'm out in New Orleans, this is a story Margaret did, but I'm going to meet up with Margaret, and she and I are going to spend an afternoon together, and she's going to take me around, and we're going to look at some of the scars still in Louisiana from Katrina. And from there, we're going to. The whole idea that I'm going for is she's going to. The person that was a part of coverage to help Louisiana and New Orleans through Katrina is going to give me a tour of what it's like 20 years later, and I'm going to do a story on that, and I am ecstatic to spend an afternoon with her. So I will be sharing all of that video from somebody that has lived in Louisiana for so long, who has cared about this community for so long. I'm so excited to spend some time with her and to see what the community looks like 20 years later. So that's something that I said to the station. I was like, while I'm out there, I have to do this. I absolutely have to do this. So I'm very excited to spend that time with her. I'm very excited to learn from her and to see it. So anyway, I'm just showing video of a story she did on the subject from years ago. That's Margaret there. So you know, with our old Hearst graphics. So anyway, I will share all of the data with you all of the video, but yeah, it's a story that I'm excited to have the opportunity to tell. Because there are still so many people that are displaced from that storm that will just never go back. That will just never go back to New Orleans. So Taylor says she seems very animated even without sound. Taylor, she's a treasure. Is the only way to put it. And to that point, maybe just maybe I get her on a coffee talk drive-through sometime. Now, she's retired from the station. Every time I talk to her, she's like, "Oh, I'm with my grandbaby." And it's like, I do not want to interrupt that. So I'm sure we could find a time to get her on there, but that's a story that I really want to tell, and yeah. So there's that. Look at her getting into the nitty gritty on it. To that point, though, it's like crazy to think we're talking about this because we're not that far out. 49 days away from hurricane season. Robin says, goodness, how sad. 20-year anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. I remember the absolute devastating pictures on the local news and newspaper headlines. I still have them in my closet. Never, ever forget the lost souls in that nightmare. It reminds us all, and I think that we can never, ever forget. Every storm is different. Every city, every community can be hit differently. And the world has changed in the 20 years since Katrina, right? Um, the social media hype scene is a disaster. And so yeah. That's what else can you say, right? I'm gonna always do anything I can to fight hype, but it's a different world today than it was during Katrina. And Brian Tittle brings up an absolutely valid point. New Orleans made the majority of the news coverage, but communities in Mississippi, and I'm just going to put that video back up because it's there. New Orleans made the majority of news coverage, Brian writes, but communities in Mississippi were also damaged. 100% of the structures and infrastructure in Waveland and Bay St. Louis were damaged or destroyed. I was on the first team in from Florida just hours afterward. Yeah, you're not wrong, right? You're not wrong at all. So it was not just New Orleans. And, you know, it could happen again. It could happen again to all of these communities. And if you reflect on, and I'm just running this story here, but if you reflect on the if you reflect on the hurricane forecast Jeremy and I put out, they're at least in a hotspot. And we know that to be the case. I would even argue that that Louisiana to Mississippi corridor this year is the hottest of hotspots. So 20 years since Hurricane Katrina. And that's going to be one of the bigger focal points. Yeah, we don't need to keep going on that. 20 years since Hurricane Katrina. Isn't that something? Wow. DSU did a 15th anniversary special on Katrina. Hold on. I just want to hear the first I just want to hear the first few minutes of it as it just popped up on my feed. I just want to hear the first. Will you guys be good and good friends and listen to the first few minutes with me? Let me re-rack this. We don't obviously I'm not going to put the whole thing up, but I'd be curious just to hear the intro to it. Let's take a listen to that.
Katrina was a first, a disaster we never could have imagined. 80% of a major American city flooded. A storm surge that leveled parts of the Mississippi coast. Images of people crying for help from rooftops are forever seared in our minds. That's why we must do everything possible to prevent the devastation from another Katrina. We look back 15 years and hope we never look another hurricane like Katrina in the eye again.
Wow. I just want to watch the first.
The city of New Orleans pushed to the brink on this day back in 2005, and unfortunately, 15 years later, time has not healed the open wound created by Hurricane Katrina.
This is our hometown, the place that we were born and raised. We're strong and we're resilient. So you know what happened after the storm knocked us down? We got back up and move forward together in light of this tragedy. A region underwater.
Wow.
Tens of thousands
Do you remember that?
of
Maybe
homes
some of you that are
flooded.
young,
Fires, looting.
some of you that are young won't remember how bad
Transcribed
this
chaos
was.
that many had never seen before. 15 years later, the images are still, at times, hard to watch.
All right, Margaret, what can you tell us?
It's a Category 5. Katrina is now a Category 5 hurricane. Katrina made landfall 6:10 Monday morning at Buras with 125-mile-per-hour winds. Storm surge 15 to 19 feet from Plaquemines to New Orleans East. The highest storm surge along the Mississippi coast, 24 to 28 feet, 20 miles wide, and it moved inland 6 miles.
Initially, many thought the city of New Orleans dodged a bullet. Yes, there was damage. Hotel windows blown out, cars destroyed, and the Superdome roof heavily damaged. But then the levees broke.
Water pouring through the missing wall.
Families who chose to stay, stuck in their homes. Many needed to be rescued by boat from their attics and rooftops. The damage total in the hundreds of billions. The city, state, and federal response inadequate. Emergency evacuation orders given too late for thousands to get out, so they were stuck. The convention center filled with panic, fear, and despair.
Do you all remember this? For those of you, like, I'm getting chills just watching this because I get the images add something, don't they?
Countless lives, others didn't, and police misconduct reared its ugly head. The city evacuated for over a month, many wondering if they could ever come back. But we're woven from a different fabric here. No one was going to give in. And 15 years later, we're still going together.
While most
Wow.
of us
So that's Travers Mackle, one of their anchors, and then of course this is Margaret Orr. So Margaret is the person that I'm going to be spending a bit of time with while out there. Wow. I've got. I mean, all I can say is I've got goosebumps. I remember personally. I remember thinking that they had dodged a bullet, and then the levees broke, and that was where it went. So, wow. I need to watch that entire special before I go out there so that I can have a true appreciation and ask the right questions to Margaret and really, you know, look, I'm not a meteorologist in Louisiana, but for those of us, I want to, you know, never let us forget what a storm can do in a major American city, and thus also what a lack of preparation on a community level or a lack of response on a community level can do, and it costs lives. That's why when there are storms that threaten us, I will not be the guy to hype, but I am going to be the guy to tell you straight, right? And that's why we have to prepare as best we can before hurricane season, right? So that we are as prepared and have a plan. We've got time for this season, right? And God willing, we will not, or they will not, or nobody will have a storm like that ever again. But we know that's not likely. We know that there will be another devastating storm that will make landfall somewhere at some point in time. It's just the way that it works. So we have to be ready for it. Victoria says, I went through Hurricane Hugo as a 9-year-old. We survived a tornado that destroyed our home, leaving only the hallway we were in standing. This experience has always impacted me to respect a storm. Yeah. And to that point, right? Like, even if it's not impacting you directly, it's impacting somebody else. Have some flippin' compassion. I really hope you get to see the heart of New Orleans and the people that live there. If anybody will ever show that to me, it's going to be Margaret. Period. Yeah. Penny says, I remember it so vividly. I'd say it was a tragedy to say the least. It's true. It's true. I'll share the story I'll share the story like on the anniversary, you know. But if you just go on to YouTube and type like WDSU Hurricane Katrina, or I think I Googled WDSU Hurricane Katrina, and that was the 15-year anniversary special. There was also another one that they had done. I need to try and get a copy of it, which was the Hurricane Katrina like documentary that was done because like they lost a news crew during the storm they didn't have contact with. Like it was bad. You know? So anyway, that's that. That's what I'm working on, but it's not just going to learn um in the conference room. I want to learn from Margaret Orr, and I frankly I never want to stop learning from Margaret Orr. She is a treasure, and she has a lot to offer, and I want to take. Just so that you know, I would say there is a significant piece of my on-air coverage that comes from Margaret Orr when it comes to no hype, because Margaret Orr is the one who just is like, look, we're just going to talk. And I think everybody has a gift. Margaret's is the way to just say like, listen, no. Stop with the noise. Stop with the noise. Let me tell you, it's going to be bad or it's not going to be bad. Whatever. So there's a lot to learn. Anyway, no hurricanes in the 7-day forecast, some ups and downs in temperatures, but here we are. All right. Questions, comments, concerns. Now that we're all right, bring it back to Florida. Questions, comments, concerns, anything. Anything at all. Let's see. Katrina came through Adamsville, Alabama, knocking a tree down and busted my outside tape. Yeah, and being one of the lucky ones, right? For sure. Yep. The 25th on my weather app calls for rain. We'll be driving. Oh, you know what we didn't do is we didn't look at just like the raw models to see if if that 28th, 29th storm system was going to be anything interesting. High pressure, compressional high. I didn't even see like that 19th, 20th front is like done. Look at that. It's the GFS is like, no front for you. What are you? Look at you, little thing. What? That's my birthday. The 29th is my birthday. What are you doing, little GFS? Doing? Little goober. What are you doing? What are you doing over there, GFS? Trying to bubble up a little something over the Bahamas. You see that? Let's go back one model run. Not really there. Doesn't that just go to... Although there's something off the coast of like South Carolina. Oh, GFS doing GFS things. Are you already doing your thing, GFS? You sweet, adorable little piece of key lime pie. There you go. Yeah, hour 300 out is definitely always something. But it's April, and April's when things could start, on old fronts particularly. Okay, that's it. Listen, be the sunshine in someone else's day. So my plan is to try and do a coffee talk tomorrow at some point. We're going to figure this out. Taylor, I'll say it for you since you can't. I'm not going to add anything more. All right, listen, be the sunshine in someone else's day. Thank you so much for hanging up for Coffee Talk. Oh, GFS, you little goober.